who, oh, I started a second too early. Oh well. Anyway, we have Rosilynn Yoon back for her second round. And the first time she kind of gave a big overview on marketing. And this session is going to be a little more specific on our websites and our profiles and such. And hopefully, well, more than hopefully, this will be set up, followed by a workshop so that we can do a hands-on work on our own profiles and website and such with her guidance. Haven't determined a date yet, but we count on that coming. So, a couple announcements tomorrow. Those of you in Portland, like you, Rosilynn, there is a meeting, uh, in-person meeting. Friday is, oh, the North Editors one. Oh, okay, so that hasn't happened yet, has that? And then Wednesday is Eugene, Oregon. Man, this is so cool to see these meetups happening all around the Pacific Northwest. And anybody here, if I had a Puyallup one, would anybody show up? I guess we'll have to rely on the email stuff. Otherwise, it'd be Tacoma. So if anybody wants to host an in-person meetup, we're here to help you do that. We may even be able to show up for wherever you are, unless it's in Oregon for me. Okay. And tonight's topic is get clients. And of course, the picture, you guys are covering it, so I can't see what the whole title is. Oh, create your best online presence. So this blurb, I think, was sent out by email, and you guys have probably read it. So I will let Rosilynn take over.
Hello. I would like to say my name is Rosilynn, but that's okay. A lot of people say Roslyn, but I'm trying to be better at correcting people. So nice to meet you all. I'm Rosilynn. Okay, let me share my screen. Yes, as David mentioned, the last session was pretty marketing heavy. It was a bit more, it was broader than this one. Let me just share my screen before I say more. One sec.
By the way, it was Travis that introduced Rosilynn to us.
Yeah,
So big thanks to Travis there for introducing her to us.
his brother is sleeping 30 feet away from me. Just kidding. That's just a weird way to say his brother is my boyfriend. Okay. All right. Can everyone see that? Okay. I love asking that. You gotta ask that. Hello. Hello. Who, let me set it up so I can see you guys better. Who was at the last workshop? Some people. All right. And feel free to just, speak. You don't need to raise your hand, or you can use the chat. If you were not here at the last workshop, I'm Rosilynn. I am a social media and email freelancer. I also help people go from 9 to 5 to freelance. And I'm a workshop host and speaker, which is why I'm here today. Since the last time we met, which I think was last June, so almost a year ago, I built out a course. And the course is actually called Get Clients. It is not launched yet because it has taken me a long time. So any feedback is so helpful, but you all are getting an inside look at the course. It is a workshop version of it. So I am really a big fan of engagement. So please speak up at any time if you have questions. It is Monday night, so I'm really wanting this to be more of a discussion. I want to have fun. Yeah, I don't want to just be lecturing the whole time. And ask questions. Ask questions at any time. I have had a career in marketing and advertising for over 10 years. So if you are curious about anything marketing related, please ask me. This is your chance. And yeah, if you want to ask me afterwards, just send me a message on LinkedIn. I am a resource. All right, let's get into it. So, what do I mean when I say create your best online presence? Oh, my bad. I struggled with this copy a little bit. I'm just being fully transparent. I don't know if that is exactly what I help people do, but what do I mean by create your best online presence? I don't want you to be online all the time. I realized since the last time we met, that is not necessarily the lifestyle that I want to live. And I always want to preach the lifestyle that, that I'm living. Um, yeah, it's not that I want you to post all the time, post consistently, even though that is important. But I'm not that great at posting consistently, and I have still gotten clients from online. So, really, the root of that is having really good brand strategy. So, we are going to talk about, your LinkedIn profile, your website, what to say, where to say it, but a lot of that comes from that marketing strategy. So I really focus on the strategy work and then how, or the reason why I think strategy is so important too is you have such a strong foundation of why you, especially with so many competitors, what else? Why your business is true to yourself, again, why someone should choose your offer over others. And when you have that written out, or when you build that strategy out, it is so much easier to promote that. So then when people land on your website, they automatically think like, oh, she's talking to me, or like, yes, I like her, I want to work with her. So you don't have to be posting all the time. You just have to have really good material. And we are going to get into that. I also want to mention, oh, this is better. Okay. I just had to move you guys. I also want to mention that I am all about building a sustainable freelance business. That is why I'm not going to tell you guys to post 3 times a week to do this. That is all great. But honestly, I don't do that. um, again, but sustainable, we'll get more into what I mean by that. I think to do that, you have to have the strategy in place. So this workshop, and I'm gonna refer to it as the workshop or the course. Those two words are just interchangeable to me for this purpose. It's organized in 3 parts. We're gonna really define the strategy. When you're defining that strategy, that is copy that you can use for your website. That is copy you can use for your bios, your social media. So the strategy, from there, you will have so much content to work with. It is, if you were in the last workshop, we answered a lot of deep questions. And honestly, we're going to do something similar. There's just no way around that. And you either love it or you don't, but you got to do it. Once we ask ourselves all these deep questions and get to know who we are, who our business is, what we can offer, we are going to bring that together. You're actually going to create the assets that you will use to pitch to prospects. From that point, then you can move on to outreach and promotions. You use your revamped material, your brand, your strategy to actually reach out to clients. And I promise you, everything will work more harmoniously. You will get higher conversions. Any questions? And if I'm using marketing terms at any point, please be like, what does that mean? Okay. I think I can see the chat. Let me just make sure that I can. David or Jen, do you mind if there is a question in the chat that I'm not getting to, just like yelling at me?
Will
Happy
do.
to.
Okay, thank you. Or anyone can yell at me. All right. So these 3 parts, what does that look like? this is this is kind of a messy little sketch that I did. We're gonna start at your mission. And I know, you're probably like, I came here just to update my LinkedIn profile, but it matters. You can only do that if you have a mission. Or that is how you stand apart from others online, right? Once you have a mission statement, then you know who you can serve. Again, you're probably like, why are we going through audience again? But you can't write something without knowing who you're speaking to. And then outcome. What are the outcomes that your audience is going to get if they work with you? Yeah. And how do we write that in a very clear, easy to understand way? From that, we need to answer what is your competitive edge? And again, once you have this paragraph, then you can break it down into content. You could write a blog about it. You could put it all over your website. The why you, I'll show you bits and pieces from my website. It is all over my website. And again, I'll show you how I did that. That first half of the circle is the strategy. We're going to go through each section. It's pretty dense, but it'll be fun. At that point, then we can move into the second part, which is outreach. And you start that with word of mouth, organic growth, which is asking your current clients if they want to do more projects with you, innovating new services for your current clients. I will get into why that is so valuable. When I say outreach, I know I've used it twice. I mean like cold emails. So emailing people that don't know who you are, emailing prospects. Yeah. And then how to get clients through content. Okay. Just check the chat. Okay. All right. Intros. I would like you guys to have a piece of paper or a document open to write the answers to these questions. And at the end, if you want to send me these answers, please do. And if you're like, why are we answering these? These will eventually become your strategy. Yeah. So let's start here. Describe your business or service. What kind of editor are you? And that could be, I don't know, that could be something from like, I am a editor for B2B businesses. Sorry, I'm like all marketing terms. So scream at me if you want me to use more editing terms. I am an editor for novels. Or it could be like, I'm a fun editor. Take this question however speaks to you. Yeah. All right, as you're writing that, I'm just going to go to the next question. What experiences have led you here? So, and what have you learned from each experience? Quickly sharing mine and why I'm asking you this. I started out my career as a copywriter for a startup tech company, startup ed tech company. And when I was working in education technology, I really learned that there were access to education and resources are not equal. That is what I learned from that first job. In my second job, when I was at an ad agency, I learned that I truly love strategy. I really love strategy. I love consumer behavior. I also just love being around creative people, and I like working with multiple clients at once. But I also learned that I wanted to freelance. I still wanted to do my own thing. Okay. Which is what led me here. So your journey is very valuable. I have gotten clients from sharing my journey because it builds credibility. So really write down every single experience and what you've learned from it. what's important to you? Do you want to make editing more accessible, fun? Do you want to make it easier, more diverse? All right, the next question, what is your personality? What is your, oh, that meant, that's a typo. What is your business's personality? And if you're like, what does that mean? Just start with what is your personality? And why I'm asking you this is if I were to answer this, I am very bold. I love bright colors. And if you go to my website, you will see that it is very bright. I'm also very chill. And I have clients that work with me because I'm easy to work with. Yeah. So these personality traits are going to translate to your business. And the last question, what are your hard and soft skills? So are you very empathetic? Are you resourceful? And again, I know this feels like very elementary, but imagine you are answering this because it can be used for content on your website, for your LinkedIn. For example, I straight up say on my online profiles why you should work with me. And I have bullet points, 5 bullet points, and one might be resourceful. And then an example of how I'm resourceful. Easy to work with. So I say all these things because it's differentiating myself. Okay, really take time with these questions. For the sake of today, I will keep moving on, but if you need me to go back to the slide, let me know. Yeah, we will use these answers for our strategy, which we're getting into right now. We're going to start with the mission. If you remember the visual, the audience, messaging, and offers. And I will say, the slide deck this time, I want it to be more just guardrails. I really want this session to be more discussion based. So if I ever go off script, that's fine. Again, just keep sending me questions. But let's dive in. So the mission, before we do anything else, we need to define this. And in other words, why are you doing this? A quick backstory. I've worked with 20 plus brands. And anytime we have a strategy session, we always start with the mission. And I really had no idea why people were doing this until I started my own business. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is really important. So yeah, now it is part of my course. So how are you helping others with your business? And I actually want to answer that with you guys. What have you guys heard from your clients? Why do you help people edit books, PDFs, documents, capstones, etc.? Why are you helping them? And this is not rhetorical. It is, I would like some answers from y'all.
You first.
Me first?
Yeah.
Okay. I help. I'm helping others because I know what it feels like to have this dream of entrepreneurship. That is so cheesy, but it is genuinely true. The feeling of having an idea and wanting to launch that, from idea to launch to business to a life that you love and having complete control and freedom over your time. That is why I'm helping people. That is why I do workshops with people, because I want them to achieve the dream of being an entrepreneur, if that is their dream. And it doesn't have to be as deep as mine. I've thought about it a lot. um, but there has to be a reason why you're editing, right? And it could even be as simple as there's like it's so gratifying, and when you see someone finish their first book and being part of that magic, I honestly can't even imagine, you know. um what else? It's like, why do you edit? Why do you like helping people edit?
Can I say something, Rosalind?
Yeah, please.
So I think like in my course at
Mm-hmm.
UW when I learned how to edit professionally,
Mm-hmm.
it's like they told us that our role is to, as editors, is like to bring our client's manuscript to its full potential. But
Okay.
now that I'm thinking about like how can I sort of like modify that to make it, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, more inspirational or interesting or something, because like every student would use that same line, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking that maybe like when you can like help somebody create something that's very personal to them, but like allow them to achieve a level of expression or
Mm.
um yeah, they might not have been able to achieve otherwise, but that's still theirs, that could be very fulfilling I think maybe on the creative side for an editor. So you kind of like help somebody achieve this expressive goal that they have, you know?
Yes,
And you help them create something that they're very proud of and that they're ready to share with as many people as they can, the public or their family or whoever their audience is. So I think
for
that could be
sure.
something for maybe not just me, but for other editors as well.
I love that. And I love when you said like bring full, just like the full extent of expression that you might not otherwise be able to get to on your own. That is rooted in such a human truth. So I'm sure we've all been there, but I have had so many times where I'm like, I'm trying to say this, but I can't say this. So if I had an editor to help me with that, that's the human truth that I'm talking about. Like, how do I say this to like actually express myself correctly? So I love a mission that comes from that. That is another way to think about your mission statement.
Do you still want more answers?
Yeah.
It hurts my heart to see a bad review purely because someone said there were editing problems while
Oh.
they were reading.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm one of those people that likes to read a review, a couple, when I'm on that teeter totter
Mm-hmm.
of whether I should read this book because the blurb sounded good, but I'm not sure. So I wanted to read to see if anybody put in their review something pertinent, like this contains this. So if you're sensitive to this, don't read it, do read it. But when I see one that gives a 1 star or a 2 purely because of the editing, it just hurts
Uh,
because
yeah.
it's like, oh, if I could have read this before this person, I could have fixed some of those.
I I really love that. That is also like such a, I'm gonna use, we use the word human truth in advertising. Sorry. Yeah, but that is like such a shared experience. And I love that the mission has come from that. And again, if you, I've never thought about that ever. So if I saw you online and you maybe like your website header or like right under it, you said something along those lines of like, I hate seeing bad reviews. That would instantly catch my attention and say, oh, I need an editor to avoid this. Yeah. So that's really awesome.
Okay, thank you.
Please keep that. Yeah. And share that. Say that more often.
I have it in my LinkedIn profile.
Oh,
If anyone
beautiful.
reads that about.
No, I promise you, if I was looking online, that would stand out to me because that was truly, I'm like, I've never thought of that.
And we know avoidance is often a high motivator, avoidance of something
Exactly.
negative.
Yep.
Preventative. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have two stuff in the chat.
Oh, yay. I'm seeing them now.
Uh, So I don't know if they're putting it there because they're too shy, which surprises me, knowing who's posted.
Well,
Rosie, do you want to share, or do you want me to read your what you said?
are you asking me or the?
Oh, sorry, Rosie.
Okay.
If she doesn't answer it, I'll just read it then.
No, I can do it.
Okay, better than me.
Yeah. You want me to read it?
Sure, or say it ad lib.
Okay. So yeah. So I'll say it. This is a summary of what I wrote in the chat because and hi Rosalind, this is fabulous. I haven't
Oh.
met you before. So Rosilynn. Okay. Um I have been an editor and then I kind of accidentally wrote a book and I had a message in the book that was super important that I realized I wanted to share with the world, something very important I wanted to share with the world. So then I had to come up with an author webpage, and my uh, web design artist person said, "You have to tell the story of how you got here." So I had to go back and do that deep questioning, and I'll just read one of the paragraphs that I wrote that is relevant to both my editor webpage and my author webpage. But yeah. Um, so I talked about over the years as a therapist, as an elder care companion, I wanted to help people find meaning and share their stories. And now, as an editor, I sit with my writing clients to help with their stories, true stories, fiction, fantasy, and whatever um, other story passions they hold onto the page just for their own eyes, for the eyes of their friends and family, or even for the world. It's all important because I would just add on to that. It hurts my heart right now because people have a lot of important things to say in the world and to share about coping in the world, and they're being silenced. And so my passion is to help those writers' voices get out there and it's share their important messages for how to hope and thrive and stuff.
Oh, I love that. I love it because it's also timely and you're responding to the world now. And did you say you were a therapist?
Yeah, I was a
Okay.
social worker and then I was an elder care companion. And now, as an editor, kind of my part of what I emphasize in my advertising is my ability to help clients think reflectively about what might be getting in the way of their writing or whatever. So that's kind of my little niche in terms of being a writing accountability coach because I come from there. I don't do like time strategies or things like that with like marketing words. I do let's think about, how does your stomach feel when you sit down to write and you can't write and you go and throw up, like what's going on? So it's
Uh-huh.
not therapy, but it's reflective looking at your writing goals and stuckness and how to work through that. So that's just
Okay.
really
I love
exciting.
that. Yes. And I will touch on that in a few slides. So you're already thinking ahead. But just like what makes your offers unique, we'll get into that. And like really thinking of very specific scenarios that your client is going through. You will see why that is so important later. So I'm so glad you said that. That will be a great transition. Did you want to read Dawn's, David? Or did Dawn want to read Dawn's?
I can read mine.
Okay.
Good.
I like typing better than talking usually, but um, I'm doing this because I love all kinds of writing. I love stories and characters and fascinating information. I believe that anyone who wants to share their stories with the world should have a chance to and can do it well. I help others at all levels of publishing experience, whether they already know how it all works and just want quality editing, or they're new to publishing and need some extra guidance on how to get there.
Oh, Okay. So there's a lot of good nuggets in here. There really are. If they're new to publishing, do you help first-time authors?
I do.
Okay. So that might lead well into the audience section as well, because your mission should reflect who you're helping. So I love that. But I love that you kind of unknowingly or knowingly organized it in a way, because you say all levels of publishing, this is what you can do for them. New authors, this is what you can do for them. And anyone that, like fascinating information. I love that. And what that means. So a lot of marketing too is just organizing things. You already have like 3 really good chunks, and I think breaking it down further would help your customer see themselves in which service that they need.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I love it.
So
Okay.
it's interesting to hear on my end. I guess I'll share my face here. Sorry. Um, so many of the members are help individual authors, and I'm a tech editor and have worked with businesses all the time. So I don't think in terms of helping a specific author to tell a story and that sort of thing, but I'm helping a business to tell a story that will support it in getting income. So like proposals and marketing materials and requests for proposals. So, uh, so I'm finding that what I enjoy about that is the sharing of information such that it's bringing value to some other company. Um, that's
Absolutely. Yes. And I'm sure what you say in a business can make or break you, So you are helping them be the best they can, helping them give them a voice that is true to them. Okay. I love it. Thank you for the great discussion. I really love that. I'm going to say this again. That was my priority for this workshop. So even if we have to Zoom through some things, I think it's more valuable that we are talking aloud. So you feel inspired by other editors. You all can share experiences with each other, get ideas. So I'm really loving this. I hope you leave inspired. That is the objective of all of my workshops, and you all are doing it phenomenally. Okay, I am inspired by you guys' answers. Why is a mission so important? And now that we've had that discussion, you can get a good grasp of why it is important. It's not a new concept. You've seen it. You've seen businesses share their mission statement, but really, it also helps you make decisions that align with your business. So let me think of an example. Let me think of an example using one of your guys' answers. I'll give you an example using mine, because it's not that important, this bullet point. I'm going to rewind. I am going to give you a real world example. These are some of the biggest brands in the world, right? We all know these brands. Apple, to bring the best user experience to customers. That is their mission statement. Everything they have done has been in service to that mission. So the best user experience, if you're using an iPhone, you know that it's just very simple. They do this with their Macs. Every update, every product, it always comes back to the mission statement. Another example, Starbucks, every cup, every conversation, every community, human connection, basically Their mission is just bringing together human connection. That is why their stores are so big. So more people can come in. That is why they have so many locations. I mean, that's not the only reason why, but do you see how having a mission is going to help you make decisions that make sense to your business? So you're not wasting time doing things that don't service your true values. Yeah. Let's go back to this. A mission, it also helps you build a long-term business and avoid burnout. I cannot tell you, I have been very burnt out as a freelancer. And I always come back to my mission. I think of why I'm doing this. I'm doing this to help businesses grow and live the life they love. I'm helping more people become entrepreneurs so they can have control over their freedom and time. When I think about that, it helps the burnout. And that is how you build a long-term business, because you just keep doing it and you will keep growing. And your mission leads you to the right people. When people read your mission statement, all of the missions that I've heard today, it has resonated with me so much. There's going to be someone online that comes to your profile and thinks, oh my gosh, wow, I've never heard that before. Yeah, a mission, I also kind of like to think of it as a movement. How are you going to get people to join that movement? A few more examples. Your mission should never be about yourself. Yeah, it is not like, oh, I started freelancing because I was burnt out on my corporate job. That is not a mission statement. You are not going to get far with that. It is not sustainable. Your mission is always about other people and how you can help the community. Okay. We answered this. All right. Let's dive into audience. I talked about this in my last workshop. Your audience is so important, and you already have a good idea of your audience. The reason why I reiterate it so much is because it helps you determine where you're going to find your client and how you're going to talk to them. Yeah. So if you're talking to your 5-year-old niece versus your accountant, you're going to talk to them differently. You have to know your audience because these are the people that you are writing for. How are you going to speak to them? All right. These are screenshots from my last slide deck, so I will go through them pretty quickly. Knowing my audience, I have created better content that actually helps them. So when I first started, I was like, I want to help new entrepreneurs. But if I just say new entrepreneur, that could include Kylie Jenner or, just someone that's not specific enough. So I really wrote and got very specific about my audience. I am helping people that are at their 9-to-5 and they've always wanted to leave, but they're scared of leaving because of the financial instability. They don't know how they're going to get clients. So I have really evolved my mission to, versus like just stating a type of person, it is more of describing a mindset. Yeah, so keep that in mind when we go forward with the slides. I also love the member directory filter. This is from the Guild's website. Let me just get close to my screen. Okay. Yeah, click around in there. I think those categories are good ways to describe your audience. And again, actually, I don't know how the Guild website is set up. These member directory filters, how are they populated? Can someone help me answer that? Like, are they, oh, thank you, Jen.
They're populated by me.
Okay.
So
Mhm.
members can request to add categories,
Ah,
and I add them into our system so that people can select them
love
before
it.
creating their
Okay,
profile.
even better. If you have not already, I would advise you tell Jen maybe 2 or 3 filters to tag on with your search. I think it's also really great. Oh, Jen is our web magic maker. Amazing. I think it's also really great. Just a quick lesson on SEO. If you use keywords in your social bios, your content, it will show up in the search bar. Social has become the new search. People go to Instagram and they will look up Portland Indian food. People that have written Portland Indian food in their bio or their content is more likely to show up. And that is the case with most social platforms now. Yeah. So include keywords in your profiles, in your content. Wonderful.
Can
Don't
I
go
ask,
overboard with it.
I'm
Yes.
sorry, can I ask like Jen a question actually
Yeah.
about this? Because now I'm kind of curious. Like,
Welcome.
I'm
Hi.
wondering, like, what would the limitations on these tabs be? Like, what if I wanted one that was like bizarre fiction? Like, can we put that on there? Or is that like out of a main genre? Like, what's the restriction there?
So it does get a little unwieldy if we have too many genres, because when folks are searching, they have to kind of scroll through. I think we could stand to break out more genres than we currently have, though. We want to make sure we stick with terms that users will understand. Like,
Right.
what is the difference between bizarre fiction and weird fiction, or what? Yeah, I don't know. We've this might be a question for you, Rosalind. So, sorry, I keep doing that.
It's
Rosalind.
okay. It's my
Oh,
parents. It's the spelling of my name.
it isn't though. It's me.
Sweet.
It's not you, it's me. Um, so from my perspective as the web admin, I obviously want to keep things like grouped so that we're not in a situation where one category only applies to one editor.
Mm,
But
mhm,
from a people finding our editors standpoint, is
mhm,
it better if we have the more obscure term, like Travis said, bizarre fiction? Hmm.
mhm. I think it's fine if only one editor pops up.
Okay.
But that might also be an indicator, like you said, that the term might be too specific.
Yeah,
So, but again, I think it's fine. I think the question would be like, do you say bizarre or weird?
that's the trick. Like I've
Uh-huh.
always heard weird fiction, but maybe bizarre is coming. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of like bizarre more.
It is
um,
fun. And like
right.
weird fiction goes all the way back to H.P. Lovecraft in the early 20th century. And like Travis, if you were to give me a thumbnail, not to totally derail the meeting, but if you were to give me a few word thumbnail of what bizarre fiction is, what would that look like?
Hmm.
A thumbnail? What do you
Um,
mean?
sorry, just a real quick description. Like, or can you point to a writer who does bizarre fiction that I
Hmm.
might know of?
That was just the first word that came to my head. I was just
Oh,
thinking in
okay.
terms of like in terms of I mean, the writer would be, yeah, no, I don't know. But
Hmm.
I was thinking in terms of the word search on the Guild website.
Mhm.
Yeah, like how crazy would it get it, or like what would the boundaries be for all of our editors like requesting these different tags that apply to them specifically, or
I
um,
mean, at some
like
point
where do
we
we
might have,
stop? Like,
yeah.
because then all of a sudden you have like what, like 150 different like random genres, or
Oh, too
that's what I
much.
was kind of wondering.
And
Mhm.
that's so we already we have to do all the style guides, we have to do the types. Let's take this part offline and we can strategize about because I think we could do with some more genres, but I don't want to open it up to absolutely everything.
Yeah, that's what I was curious. I was just curious, like,
Yeah.
where are we now? And almost more from
Yeah.
like a guild standpoint than like
Uh-huh.
a personal standpoint right now. It's kind
Yeah.
of
Why
like the
don't
more
you and I
strict.
talk separately
Okay.
and we
Yeah.
will have a look at this.
Rosie?
Yeah. I just wanted to add onto that question in terms of um, do filter words bring up words we are using in our actual guild profile? So if we put
Heh.
words in there are unique, are unique in this way, and I love. So will that come up in some kind of filter?
Okay,
So
so
we
here's the deal. I'm pretty sure I've tested this, and if you put something into the search box, like if I searched guitar, it will pull up my profile because I talk about playing guitar in it. But if you write, or sorry, if you edit memoir, but you do not have memoir selected as a category, it will not pull it up in a category search. Does that make sense? So when we're looking at the filter terms that are selectable on the search form, those need to be selected in your profile for them to show up when someone searches by clicking that term. Does that make sense?
so it needs to be in the category. It needs to be clicked on in a category. So like what Travis is saying is because if it doesn't just come up on your profile, it might
Mhm.
it we you would need some category. But if you use yeah, so you have to in order for that search bar to bring it to your profile, it has to be in the category section too.
Right. So when you are updating your profile, you select the style guides that you use and the genres that you edit, things like that. You select them in the actual
Category.
profile editor, right? And
Mhm.
then you also write a bio.
Right. Yeah.
And the search terms that someone would select here only pull up your profile if you have selected that genre or style guide. But the search box will pull up your account for any words that you have in your bio. Yes. Sorry, I had to slow down there for a sec to make sure I was saying the right thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I
Any
would say,
further questions about our profile system, just reach out to me, info@edsguild.org, and I will be happy to go through them. But we're going to return to Rosilynn so that she can go on with her special topic. All right.
no, that this is a valuable conversation.
It is. I just don't want to take all your time.
Oh, I appreciate it. What else was I gonna say? Last thing on that, I would Google bizarre books. Google it, see and I like using Reddit. Basically, do market research. Are people using that word? Are more people saying weird? Go to Reddit and look up Reddit groups and see how people are talking about it. Because if the word bizarre is coming up multiple times, then you should use it. If no one is using the term bizarre and everyone is saying weird, then you should use weird. So do market research. I would Google the terms and see what people are talking about. Is there even conversation around it? If there is a lot of conversation around it, then it's definitely worth having as a filter word. Sweet. Okay. Yeah, Facebook groups, Reddit, again, such a good place to see what your audience is actually saying. And bizarre. Okay, interesting. Wonderful. Quick search. Yeah, again, look up your audience, see what they're talking about. You will learn so much about what their pain points are, how they're thinking. Truly, you will learn so much, especially from Reddit. And that is also why you need to know your audience, because once you know them, you go to these pages or Facebook groups. For example, there's a women writers Facebook group. If women writers are your audience, then it is very beneficial for you to go into that group and promote yourself. That is what I mean by knowing your audience is going to help you know where to show up. A lot of graphs. I hear this a lot, and I thought the same way when I started my business. I'm like, ooh, but if I'm specific, am I missing out on people? If I say I'm just for weird fiction, am I missing out on everyone else that I could be helping? I like weird fiction. I have a portfolio around weird fiction. That's just the example I'm going to use now. But if I say I'm only serving weird fiction, am I going to miss out if someone that's writing a nonfiction book about cells, I could help them with that? No. People are going to find you. You're not missing out on people if you have a specific audience. And I think this was in Dawn's answer. If you have multiple, just organize it. But don't try to be broad so you can target everyone. That doesn't work anymore. And that's what the visuals are showing. So 10 plus years ago, when it wasn't as easy to start a digital business, you could say, I am an editor for fiction, and that would have been enough. But now that it is easier to start an online business, there are more editors and there are more people and businesses just like yours. You are going to get lost in the shuffle. When you are specific about who you serve, you are essentially creating your own market. And that is truly so beneficial. The reason why I said it's okay if you click on a filter and only one editor comes up, that is because you now dominate that market. If people click on weird fiction and you are the only person that's showing up, then you are most likely going to get that client. Yeah, versus if you were just an editor, you might not have gotten that client from being specific. Other people are going to find you naturally, especially if they vibe with you and they like you. You're not going to be stuck to this. But being very specific with your audience is actually going to help you get more clients because you are creating your own market. And why does that work? It's because people feel understood when you are diving deeper into who they are. Okay, we've talked about this during our last workshop, but you're going to get so much strategy from answering this first question. What is your audience's challenges and what are their desires? And I want this to be a discussion. When you are working with authors, what do you hear them saying? Should the specific... I'll give you an example. Let me use one with editors. Well, honestly, I also have a dream of writing a book one day. I edit and edit my writing until I hate it. That is a challenge for me. I don't know. Have you heard your clients say that? Or is it, I think someone's earlier said like, oh, when you sit down to write and you feel so anxious because you don't know how to start. That is a challenge that your audience is facing. That is a great example. Okay. That's fine if there are no answers to this right now.
We got a question in the chat here. Should the specific genres be prominently placed on your site homepage, or is it okay to list them under your services and
tier down? Okay. Is this for the, well, I'll answer that question for your personal website. And then Jen, if you want to answer that for the guild website. But that's up to you. I would do both. I would put them on your homepage and I would put them in your menu. I would maybe even do an individual landing page for each of your genres for a few reasons. When you have more terms, that is good for SEO. So then if someone looks up Sherry, horror, then your like genre, horror, that might pop up. The more you use these terms, it is better for Google to understand who you are and what you offer. If someone looks up weird fiction editor in Portland, if you have those terms on your website, if you have them in multiple places, that is all beneficial for SEO. Yes. And honestly, I think I need to check, but when you click on your guild profile, is that a separate URL?
Unfortunately, it's hashed. It's unfortunately not like edsguild.org/Jen
Oh,
Grogan.
that's great. No, that's
no, it's
fine.
not, unfortunately. Yeah, that
Okay.
is not an option available under our current management system, alas.
It's okay. It gets messy.
Yep.
But I would still add the terms because you never know. You can still pop up on Google. They're always like crawling the sites. Let's see, what did David say? Landing page equals a standalone web page created specifically for marketing campaigns. Okay, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. That was helpful. It's where visitors land after clicking. Yes, yeah. Okay. Any other questions? And you can ask me website questions too.
Did you want us to answer in like kind of a discussion in the
Oh yeah.
Zoom regarding audience, or were we supposed to write this stuff down?
No, just discussion.
Or is this, well, are we going to continue speaking about audience right now, or are we going to move on?
Up to you guys. If you have, did you want to add to the discussion?
No, I just thought like I didn't realize I would have said something, but I thought we were
Oh,
supposed to be typing silently. I
oh,
could have
no,
answered the question.
I'm
I thought,
sorry. I
but
should have
nobody answered
said
the question.
discussion.
Well, I was going to say, I don't know if this is like in terms of audience, answering the first question, what are their challenges? I don't know if this is too general and like if every editor's um, audience would be like this, but the first thing that came to my mind is that many authors don't have the skill. Well, basically what happens is they have a lot of text, a lot of information, and they either don't have the skill or the time to deal with it. I think is something that a lot of authors experience. So maybe they don't have like the technical skills in the Word documents or maybe they don't, or maybe not the knowledge, like they don't know like what the publication route is. So contacting editors can help them like, lead them through the publication process. Or simply maybe they do know all of this stuff and they just simply don't have time, and they need somebody else to do it for them. So I think that's like really, I don't know if that's too general or if anybody else has more like specific comments on that one.
I do something similar when I provide my services because social media management for a business, it is a lot about saving time. But what is the outcome of saving time? Is it so that they get their book published quicker so they can focus on writing the sequel? Or, so I think it works. And I mean, it definitely works. I'm using it, saving time. But to make it a little more specific, what is the outcome that they're getting from saving time?
That makes sense. Because if you're working with like a professional author who's already published, and yeah, maybe he's working on his next book, or if you're working with, yeah, like a retiree who, wants to publish something to his family, maybe he gets to spend more time, I don't know, doing anything he has to do for his life,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, even for 9 to 5 to freelance, it's like, why am I helping people go from 9 to 5 to freelance? And it's so they have more control over their time and their schedule. Mm-hmm. And just a quick note, these challenges, you should write copy around this and put it on your website. You can create content from these challenges. It is also something that you should say in your sales pitches. Sales pitches, as in when you get on a call with the prospect, let them know that too. Just be like, yeah, I would like to share a little bit about myself and how I do things. So it could be very casual, and I always say, like, I just want to make clients' lives easier. I really, they already have so much going on. I don't want to add more to their plate. So if you work with me, it's going to be easier. You're going to have more time. So just keep in mind everything that we're going through today. Yes, you should use it online, but you should also be telling your prospects this when you are on a call with them.
So I was struggling with what are their challenges and what are their desires. And finally, as Travis was talking, it occurred to me that in the business world, so my experiences with Boeing and the FAA, and it just occurred to me that a lot of what I do is I bring in my expanded humanities understanding to these science and technology experts who they know their subject, they have no clue how to write it in a marketing manner, how to sell it. And so I'm able to come in and help them with their challenge of how to how to communicate it in such a way that the reader understands what the benefit is what they're talking about or what the yeah, they're really good on the features. It's the benefits they have struggles with and that kind of thing. So I'm able to bring in a humanities perspective in a science world.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And their challenge is like, how do we bring that in?
Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't keep them up at night.
That makes sense for a big business. Okay, sweet. Oh, Rosie.
Um, yeah, just along those lines again, I just like this whole the concept of your mission is to help your client achieve their mission. So I would say, like, what are their challenges, or what are their desires? What future do they want? What keeps them up at night? What is it that they want to say to the world? And again, it could be for the family, it could be for something very personal and private. Like with the dissertation clients I have, there, what keeps them up at night is something like, I have this important message I want to say in my book. Is it a silly message? Is it important message? And what if nobody thinks it's important? But I think it's important and I want the world to know about it. So it's like helping them define it just sounds perfect to fit in with what you're talking about. I never thought of it in terms of the word marketing, but defining their mission. What is their purpose? What's the message in what they're doing? Who do they want it to go to? Yeah, and what keeps them up at night? Like if they're going to write a memoir about their family, what might keep them up at night is if I write this book, am I going to get sued by my Uncle Joe because he was a jerk and I said that in the book or something? So it's like, what do they want the world to know, and who do they want to know about it? So I just think it's so exciting to listen to how this fits into my
Oh,
vocabulary.
good. Yay. I'm glad. And that would be, sorry, I'm always thinking in terms of content, but that would be a great piece of writing a blog, or if you just want to share it with your emails, contacts, like, hey, I wrote 5 ways to see if your message is worth being heard. I don't know. But when you said that, I'm like, oh, so many people think that. Like, even myself at night, I'm like, is anyone even going to care? So if I had guidance, or if you addressed that concern for me, you would definitely stand out. And you also bring up a great point. I should have mentioned, everything intertwines. Everything is going to impact everything. So what you're saying now, you might have said it for your mission, or you might be like, okay, like my audience feels this way, so then my mission is this. So think of all things at the same time, because everything will impact everything. It's just life.
I get one more.
Yeah.
So I was a brand spanky new editor once upon a time, and I was handed this brochure by a graphics designer who said, I don't know what to do with this. And I looked at it, and unbeknownst to either the designer or I, that day we had a meeting with the senior executives who had written that thing. And all I could come up with was I couldn't figure out who the audience was for it or what the purpose for it was. And I
Yeah.
realized those are two super key aspects. If you're going to write anything, you need to know who you're writing it to, and you need to know why you're writing it.
Yeah.
And so I rewrote it for them after I figured out who their audience was and the purpose. And I was so tickled when the secretary who had typed the stupid thing up, this was way back in pre-computers in some ways. Anyway, she said, "Oh, that's what they were talking about."
No, I love that. Crystal?
Kind of like David, I work in science and technical editing, and so I am trying to figure out how I pitch this because there isn't, I mean, like you said, it doesn't keep them up at night if they just put the science out there. But me being able to make it more digestible is a huge selling point. But to what my question is, to what degree are you saying that when you're coming up with your mission statement and a lot of these things, that there should be a lot of repetition and overlap?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. I think naturally there is.
Okay.
Yeah, because if I wrote my audience down, it would be like people that I mean, I've sorry, I'm being repetitive, but people that have recently or are thinking of leaving their 9 to 5, but they're feeling anxious about financial stability. And then my mission is like helping people build a sustainable business, or like so it does feed into each other. And I think it's good if you say the same things over and over again, because people need to hear it more than once, more than 7 times.
Got
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And going back to what David said, truly every single piece of marketing, like strategy doc that I've touched, every single creative brief, just to give you an inside look at the advertising world, it always starts with asking, what is the objective? Who is the audience? That is on the top of every single marketing brief. Amanda said, one of the things I learned in being an office assistant, people need to hear your message multiple times before they pay attention. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There are people that, like, They see us on social, they're getting emails from us. And then I meet them at a trade show and they still don't know what we're talking about. Like, you have to continuously say it. And this is a little outdated, but there's like I think David, you know this too, but like someone needs to see an ad 7 times before it starts registering. And also people just don't listen. So, uh, hey, do you work individually with us editors to actually write out this good stuff? And how do I reach you? Yes, you can. Just message me on LinkedIn. I'd be happy just to do like a brainstorming session. Again, this is a passion of mine. I truly want to help people be successful in their online business. So please reach out to me. Travis.
I don't know if we're past this already, but I would be curious to hear from one of these technical editors, like what their, I don't know, like what their mission statement slash audience like reach out tactic, like what does that sound like? I'm just curious now because I've done like academic editing and fiction editing, and technical editing is kind of the one I know least about at this point, I think. So I'm just curious. But if this is like, yeah,
David, you
David,
might be
would you
more
go?
qualified to answer that than I would.
So, the technical editing field is hugely vast. So if you work for Microsoft, your mission would be to help clarify instructions so people can uh, use their software properly. My mission on proposals was to help translate the aeronautical science into something the government wanted to buy. Um, does that answer, is that close to
It
what
does,
you're
and I
thinking?
start thinking about it from like a freelancing perspective, like, those two statements you gave are very specific based on a job that you were hired for, right, David?
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm wondering, like from a freelance perspective, like where does a technical editor kind of like niche it out or yeah, I don't know.
I'm still working on that myself for when I
Is it?
retire and want to freelance, which will
It's
hopefully be within
yeah.
the year.
Oh,
Travis, some of it is client specific. I work with engineers, I work with biologists, I work with climate policy advocates, and for all of them, I work with Gonzaga Law School. So it kind of depends on who. The way I pitch it is I make the data speak loud and clear.
ooh, nice.
If the data gets buried, no one pays attention to it. My job is to make it clear, concise, put it in plain language so that it's accessible to people and can actually reach a wider audience. Um, so I work very clearly on saying more with less, not letting things get buried, and making sure that it's accurate and precise. And I have the science background to make to not make edit errors in the science itself. Too often with the copy editors that I train, they want to apply humanities rules to science and they miss some of that. So it's like if I'm editing equations, I know what to edit and what not to edit. And that's a pretty key thing for scientists, because a lot of editors tend to screw things up.
Yeah, we've had to
Just
fire editors because they tried to comment. They just,
edit the
Like
wrong
change the
things.
yeah,
equation to the rocket launch or something.
yeah, it just,
No, change the name of the term such that it becomes another term that means something else entirely.
yeah.
Mm.
You're trying to English something that is specific to the field, and you end up changing it such that it becomes something else entirely or not the keyword that you need it to be in that field. And so having that knowledge is pretty key to that field or that subset, that audience.
And that is something that keeps the authors awake at night as they worry about us changing the meaning of something they write.
Keep that in mind. When we get to messaging, I have this thing called like your without statement. So it's like edit your book without losing the meaning that
Mm.
you know. So the without blank is very helpful when you're messaging. Um, just a quick thought to your question, Travis. I am similar. I help, or an industry that I work with a lot of B2B businesses, and I have a few financial institutions as clients. So it can get tricky. You know, I'm always like 4.5 APY, I don't know, like interest rates. How do we make that easy to understand and engaging on social? So the way that I helped message, or the way that I help message to B2B clients, is I actually use a graphic because I'm pretty visual, and I'll pull it up somewhere, but in the graphic, it's like a jumbled mesh of string. It's all complicated. And then there's a string that is forming a circle. So it's like go from complex to easy to understand. So you can use a visual to explain that they're going from like this to this. And a lot of businesses I've worked with, I've experienced the same thing. They have something complex, they need to make it easy to understand for the public.
That's interesting.
B2B is business to business. Sorry.
No, that's interesting. I hadn't really thought about like using visuals in that way necessarily before on my website and on content stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I'm gonna zoom and I'm gonna stop parts that I find interesting. Messaging, it's dense. Okay. I'm not gonna go into all of this, but the most important thing is you are easy to understand. You can do that by being specific. I'm saying too much. I'm going to zoom so we have more time for specific questions. Do not use industry jargon, please. When I worked in education technology, I would use all these terms that teachers were our audience, that teachers should know, and they didn't. And I was like, oh, fascinating. Like I'm using way too many industry terms that they don't understand me. Don't use industry jargon. Also, this is such a unique time for editors. For example, there is a chance that I need an editor. I don't know industry terms. So if you are just saying terms at me, I will most likely not work with you because I don't know what you are saying. I don't know what you're offering. So please try to avoid industry jargon. I don't know, unless you work and exclusively work with authors that have published 5 books. But then you should write that on your website. Oh, I do not like snazzy taglines that give me nothing. Build your future with us. I hate that. I hate it. I had a friend for her AI company. Like it tells me nothing. It is not specific. Write your next book. Ooh, too broad. Too broad. It does not tell me anything. That is like a given if they're shopping with you. Okay. We've covered this, but we are improving lives. Always remember that when you are speaking. I got this from a course that I took, but typically you are improving business, well-being, or relationships. So when you are speaking to your customer, please keep that in mind. I can also send you guys like more notes around this, so we don't necessarily have to cover it right now. This is just showing you to be more specific. If you're a life coach and you say, I help improve mindsets, not specific. What mindset? My anxious mindset? My mindset when? Because when I wake up in the morning, I feel differently than when I'm going to bed. So it is not specific. It tells me nothing about what you are doing for your client. So moving into that, a life coach that helps you feel more confident in everyday situations. Another one, a life coach that helps you get over burnout. Still not specific enough. Get over burnout in what way? A life coach that helps rebuild your relationship with work so you feel less anxious on Sundays. Feeling anxious on Sundays is that human truth, that the thing that is keeping your audience up at night. So everything we've talked about, it is in service for you to speak more specifically to your audience. And hopefully you see that the right side is much better and clearer. Okay. I love this visual. It is Train with Joanne. She has this video. It's like, I train like this so I can have more time with my daughter. So I can keep saying yes to adventures. So this is how you are going to approach marketing. It is not about the service. It is more about like what the service is giving you. Let me try to, does this need another example? I mean, all of us, it's not that it's like, oh, I'm going to go to this workout class. Okay, but why are you going to that workout class? That is the message that you should be saving. This aligns with the example that we said earlier. Oh, so I don't have to do that and I could save time. Okay, but if you are helping your client save time, why is it important that they're saving time? So just take it a step further. Okay, messaging. If you have a clogged drain, who are you going to call? Probably Mike's Plumbing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you like Service All About You, but Mike is talking to me. It is very simple and straight to the point. So don't overthink it. With that said, just to give you a quick story, how I came up with the word, or not the word, sorry. How I came up with the name 9 to 5 to Freelance, it took me a year. It sounds so simple, but I went from like, quit your job, I don't know. And it really took me a long time to get to 5 or less words to make it simple and instantly recognizable. But that is the goal. If you can say what you do in 5 or less words, that is very, very specific. Amazing. Okay, how many of you guys heard of positioning for a business? You see it unintentionally. You see it everywhere. People, they're gonna take a stance. Let me try to use some examples. For example, like Subaru, their positioning is a safe car for your family. Toyota, it's affordability and reliability. Yeah. Talk about a book's place relative to other titles in the market. Oh, fascinating. We also use the word positioning to talk about a book's place relative to other titles in the market. Is that specifically about like the book's title? Or do you want to share more, Hannah?
Sure, I'm happy to.
Okay.
Yeah, I work for a literary agency part-time, so we use positioning not to talk about the title, but the market, and it's how a book fits into the market and its audience. Sorry, that's my bird clock.
I don't hear it.
Yeah, so position. Okay. I think it's very similar to what you're talking about, but we use it on the literary agency side.
Yes, it is exactly the same. Just think of this for yourself. You as a freelancer, where do you fit in the market? Claim something. Yeah, I'll get into examples. Okay. There are some examples of positioning in here. These are just examples of good messaging. And what you can do in that like 5 or less words that I'm talking about, you can lead with the promise. There is a woman that helps other women make 100K. Her tagline, her brand, her business name is her first 100K. That is so clear. I'm obsessed with it. Maybe yours is your first book in 6 months. I don't know. What is the promise? Lead with the outcome and the time frame. There is this marketing agency. They are all about that agency that makes an entire month's worth of social posts. I love that. It's the outcome, the time frame. Maybe for you, it's the editor that helps you write the book you've been thinking about for years. I don't know. Lead with what you do best. That is another way you can get to your core message. Room for your toes. That is from my favorite running shoe brand. And I have wide feet. So when I read that, I'm like, yes, they know why they're good. It's so simple and straight to the point. Again, obsessed with it. Include your audience in your core message. Is it editing for blank? And you don't have to, this is not an all-inclusive list. This is just to give you ideas if one is speaking to you more than the other, you know, just so you have all the options. But do not feel like you're like one sentence that encompasses everything has to include all of these components. Lead with a time frame. That's kind of the same. Oh, that was redundant. I already said that. 10-page edit in 48 hours. If you are more like document or like ebook, something quicker, maybe you do 10-page edit in 48 hours. And that would actually make a very good product. Yeah. When I say product, I mean service. You can add credibility. I don't know if that's, it's more, you know, it's been done, but still nice. Okay. Okay. Why should your clients choose your business over others? Again, a lot of this is, oh, the shoe brand is Ultra. I'm going to type it out. Yeah. I need an affiliate link because I really love them. Okay. Okay. Competitive edge. In 2026, your competitive edge is going to be you, especially as an editor. It is so much about the individual. I have had more luck as an individual than I have as like a business entity. My marketing agency is called the Downpour Agency, and for a long time, I didn't show my face. It was all about just like rain and, you know, thematics. Sorry, there's always ambulances on the street. Okay. So when the Downpour Agency, and then I'm like, okay, I feel like I need to put my face and people need to get to know my personality if they want to work with me. So that is why I started creating my personal brand. And that has already reaped so many benefits. And I'm like, okay, that's my competitive edge. There's just, you know, when you are yourself, you are your one and only, or you are a one and only in this world. All right. But to be a little more concrete, if you're like, okay, what does that even mean? Your competitive edge can be these 5 things. It can be your journey. That is why we answered that question, because your journey is unique to you. That is a competitive advantage. People are going to relate to that. Your offer, you know, a lot of the times we just go with the cheapest or the best bang for our buck. Your offer should be top notch, or maybe it's a white glove service. Maybe you meet with authors, or you're available more often. Okay, that is amplifying your offer. That is adding to your competitive edge. 3, your time and place in the market. Rosie, I love what you said earlier. I already mentioned it. Like, it is a very important time right now to say your message. I love that. That is responding to the time and place in the market. For marketing, I have had to address how I use AI. So a lot of my messaging might be like extreme efficiency. Like, maybe I start with AI, but I'm always the one that does the final touch. It's just more collaboration. Anyways, the demand and the market right now matters, and how you respond to it. Your without statement, we've talked about this. Another example is I will often say, like, how to get clients without a large social media following. So what are you helping clients do without blank? Also a competitive edge. Your vibe and mindset. Again, I'm very chill, and I've had clients work with me just because I ease their anxieties a bit. Yeah. Again, love a visual. I recommend you do this yourself. It is very fun to just draw you in the center and all the things that make you wonderful and why people should choose you over others. Okay, so there were a lot of notes up until that point, hopefully. If you were taking notes, you probably have a long document. The next step would be to highlight the words that stick out to you. If you see reoccurring words, that is also really helpful. And you will see reoccurring words. That is worth bringing to, oh, I'm the same color as the slide. Sorry, I just noticed. I lost my train of thought. Okay. Yes. So next step, if you were taking notes, highlight what is sticking out to you, highlight any overlap, start editing and paring it down. Okay. That is the material that you will use to pitch to clients. For example, I did the same exact thing when I started my business, and I am still revisiting my mission and my competitive edge. From time to time, I revisit everything. At the same time, get it out there, okay? You have to gauge reactions, and don't get stuck in not publishing and seeing how people react to it. Messaging is going to change depending on what the public thinks. And yeah, I've spent so much time on messaging, have published something, and it still doesn't make sense to people. Just because it makes sense to you, it doesn't mean it's going to make sense to them. So just get it out there. Yeah. Going back, when I started my business, and even now, I will answer those questions. I will edit that down. And then I have come to this. What you are seeing. So these two, the yellow, I send that to people that I'm emailing so they can get to know me. And that is my journey. It's my mission, and what I offer very clearly. Your number one priority is to be clear. This black square is my bio on my website. So again, this is my vibe. It's my mindset, my personality. Put that on your About Me page. Again, it's not like a long-winded story. You don't have to write out your life story for your audience, but tell them about yourself, especially on your About Me section. Career journey. I asked you what your journey was, how you got to this point. You can take that if you like it. I created a timeline because, again, it is all about organizing information so it is easy to understand. Yes, that also lives on my website. It lives in my portfolio. Sometimes I send it to prospects. And then that blurb, why you should work with me, again, that is in my portfolio. And I have sent my portfolio to every single prospect. Every single person that I have pitched to, whether I have gotten the job or not, has asked for my portfolio. If you don't have a portfolio, you need one. And if you're like, where do I begin? Start with your resume. Okay. For like the first, well, I've always had a portfolio because of marketing. As my business has evolved, my portfolio has evolved. These are screenshots from my portfolio. You will see that it is categorized in those industries that I've talked about. Just because I say B2B and finance, I still have nonprofits and like beauty brands reach out to me. But again, it's just a way for you to organize information so people can digest it. I recommend that you break out, if you do have a portfolio, I think the next step for you to be to break it out into specific genres or projects that you have done. Why? Or another reason why. So I had someone that was just interested in video content. If they're only interested in video content, then I will send them the link to that. If I'm pitching to a B2B client, I will send them the link to that. It is a much more personalized experience. Yeah. And again, I think financial institutions, social media management, I'm not going to say it's a no-brainer, but they're like, yeah, I'll work with you because you have the portfolio for it. It's easy for them to say yes. All right. 15 minutes. Okay. Outreach. So you've written it out. You have all the bits and pieces. What are you going to do with that? You're going to do outreach. Okay. Please remember, you are planting seeds. I think on social media, there's so much advice around how to go viral or make 6 figures in 6 months. I hate that content. I hate it. I hate it. This has been true to my business. I have reached out to people in the beginning, and then 4 months later, they reach out to me. I've reached out to people, and then a year later, they come to me. So every single outreach is valuable. Just because you don't get the client, it might mean that they're not ready now, but they will be in the future. So I know it's very discouraging. I used to pitch to 300 people a month. I've only gotten like 3 or 4 responses. And then from there, it's like, you don't even know if they're going to say yes. But there have been people that have came back to me from that initial outreach. So it is all valuable. Don't be discouraged just because you're hearing a no right now. I also wanted to share this. This is an inside look into my business. 85% of my clients' income, they're my current clients that are expanding projects with me. These people already trust you. So be innovative. Is there something new that you can offer them? Maybe you had a client that wrote, I don't know, they launched their book and now they are writing Substack articles around their book. Can you offer them to help with their Substack articles? So again, do not underestimate using your current clients. Get them to sign off on new projects with you. You know this, but you should reach out to everyone. I would not be here today if I didn't ask my boyfriend's brother. So you really don't know. Please reach out to everyone. This has honestly.
I think I asked you.
Well,
but it doesn't matter who's keeping track.
Freelancing. But again, it is these people that already know you. Maybe Travis just asked me. I don't know. But who else? I have messaged my middle school boyfriend's dad, and he set on LinkedIn. It's not make it weird, but he messages me of job opportunities on LinkedIn. And I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna send him a message. So again, every single person, without word of mouth, honestly, I would have no business. I will send this slide deck out. So just know when you are reaching out to them, it is not you asking them to sign up for a service. It is to keep you in mind for future opportunities. That is just much more, approachable. It's not a hard sell. Do not hard sell. Okay. Proof that I have done this. And I also have proof of the responses. Your homework is to reach out to 15 to 20 people. Okay, cold outreach. I hate spam emails. This actually goes to the actual course, but I'm actually, wow, that actually worked out in terms of timing. This part had so many like screenshots. I was just gonna screen share the course document with you at this point. That's why there's nothing. But yes, I have emailed people that I don't know. Where do I find the emails? You can literally ask AI, can you give me a list of 50 authors in Portland, and can you find their email or their contact information from their website? And it will give you a spreadsheet. They're not all, you kind of need to go through the spreadsheet, but I've done this. I've asked AI, can you give me a list of 50 businesses in the Portland area? Creepy. But that is how I've gotten email lists before. I also use this website. Here, I'll send it to you. I think it's free. There's a paid version as well. This is really cool because this is a place that you can look up these businesses. Google has done that list for me as well. Oh, wow. Perfect. Yeah, you could literally Google it. Apollo.io, what I love about it is there is a feature, and I think it's in the free feature. It could pull up businesses with the intent of looking for an editor. How do they know that? I know, creepy. It is like, say it's an author that in the past week they looked up hire an editor, or how much is an editor. So now they have the intent of hiring one, and you can also get a list of those businesses or individuals. Sorry, I'm used to saying businesses. Yeah, so a couple ways to get emails. Again, you can just do your own research on social, on Google. And instead of being salesy in my cold outreach emails, I'll actually just be like, my adventurous career journey. And I will just share. It's very friendly. It's just like, oh, I quit my 9 to 5 and I'm starting this. If you want to connect on LinkedIn, that'd be great. If you want to know more about me, here's an attachment. And then I send them that PDF that I showed you guys. I attach a PDF with these 2 assets to the businesses that I found online. Okay, the only thing that we're missing is content, but it is such a beast. I'm just gonna jump to questions. And if you are still here, thank you so much. I know it is Monday evening. So if there are no questions, we can also log off. But if you have any marketing related questions, let me know.
I should have wrote mine down. I can't remember what my question was now.
It's okay. Let me share my, let me stop share. Okay. Please, if you have questions that come up, just message me on LinkedIn. Let me share my profile.
I don't know if I have like a specific question, but I guess I'd just like to share my thoughts.
Yeah,
And I don't know, maybe it'll inspire a question.
I love it.
But I think it's interesting, Rosalind, hearing you talk about this stuff because just from my experience thus far, like in the editing and publishing industry, a lot of what I come across and when I talk to other editors, I feel like there's been a very sort of like similar way of and I think it's a very traditional industry, and I think people kind of do things in a very similar way. And obviously, word of mouth is important in any industry and in any like small businesses especially. But I think editors seems to me, I'm, very new to this, but we rely heavily on our experience, on our like yeah, like on our portfolios and our academic backgrounds. Like Crystal said, she has expertise in these particular areas that she's um, technically editing in. So I feel like lots of editors across the board, they like really, we all kind of gravitate towards these same things when it comes to getting ourselves out there. So it's for me, it's just really interesting to think about it in just like a different way. I've never heard this. I've never thought about this before. And when, during the editing course I took, yeah, there's really, really not a lot of discussion or insights or like exploration of marketing in this industry. I feel like all of the marketing is on the author side of the publication. It's like, how do we get your
Mm.
book, right? How do we, yeah, reach your audience? But I've never heard anybody discuss it very, I don't know, in a very different way with relation to editing, the editing side of things. I don't know if other people feel that way as well, but that's just my personal experience.
Thank you for sharing that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'll throw in a reaction to Travis because I'm from the human services world. The word marketing leaves me cold, makes me want to throw up, makes me say, I don't understand what it is. So it's a different word for it. And that's what I just was saying is so exciting about this talk because it's about everything I do. I didn't, well, I know I have to market, 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 but it's like this defines what the heck it is, specifically what you're doing for people, which is where I just love this whole idea of show, don't tell. I mean, I market, like I can market this, I can market that. And I really just want to, like, I don't know what that means. Help. So
I,
this is
I love
just,
that.
yeah. So I agree with Travis.
Oh, thank you. It all means a lot. And I agree. Marketing is so, I don't know, just makes my eye twitch. But I think part of my mission is to simplify it because there is so much beauty to it. And a lot of it, the reason why I like hone in on the strategy part so much is I think successful businesses and freelancers are rooted in that self discovery, and that is so often overlooked. But so much of you can't promote yourself if you don't know who you are, and I really love that part. Yeah, I saw a chat come through. The Chicago Guide for Freelance Editors has a small section on it. I would be very interested to check that out before the next workshop because I want to see what people are saying around how to promote editors. It is a
Uh,
very interesting industry.
what can we get a couple like, is there a takeaway from that, Crystal?
Only so it's a 2024 publication by Aaron Brenner, and I think the key bit is how small it is and the fact that it, even being 2 years ago, it's not going to include AI. And it's by an editor promoting their freelance business, not a marketer teaching editors how to market. So I think that's where you've got the niche, Roslyn, is that there's strategies, there's sort of the tried and true, here's how you market your business, and then there's things that are actually working in the current sphere. And that's definitely where you build on, it's not that these things don't exist or don't work into the conversation, it's that you need somebody to one talk to you about the ever-changing landscape and also give you those visuals like yes, do X, but here's an example and what that might look like and how you could reach them and a potential slogan, and here's a graphic that gets people's creative juices flowing rather than just reading the textbook.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And people read less now. So the graphics are truly invaluable.
Some of us are getting older and fall asleep when we read, so. Well, thank you so much, Rosilynn.
Oh, yeah, of
And
course. It's always so fun.
looking forward to workshops. And I just want to say that I this is a great introduction to how we can the need for our getting our profiles better.
Yeah.
I hate to use the word optimized, but that's the word that comes to
Oh, for
mind.
sure. Yeah.
And it just, the overarching strategy I have in mind with the guild is that we're getting our profiles and such up to date. Then we need to figure out how we can draw more people to our website so they look at the member list or hire an editor button and so forth. So, um,
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to think about these things in terms of the guild website and like, because we've been talking about branching out in our meetings lately, and with the adding the topic genres and things like this, I think it's really interesting to think about it in that
yeah,
aspect.
it'll be a good conversation.
Yeah.
Jen might even be interested in it.
Yeah, I would, again, if you took notes, I would start there. I would edit your notes down to refine your brand story, why someone should choose you. Put that in your portfolio, just play around with it. Yeah. I think the next workshop will really refine that document. And then I will help you move it from a document to a presentable format, whether that includes design tips. I'm not going to teach you how to be a graphic designer, just very simple things to make yourself look more elevated. It is all about, I've said this so many times, how you organize the information. So, yeah, stay tuned.
And from our conversations, we will hopefully be able to help each other with this by
Yes.
working together on
Mm-hmm.
the stuff. So
I love it. Oh, well, thank you guys. Monday evening.
yeah.
Thank you, Roslyn. It's good
Yeah,
to
So
see
much,
you.
yeah,
everybody.
you too. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Take
All right.
care.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Roslyn.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.